What is up? Ritesh from the PI podcast, and today I will be talking about the Atlanta Falcons offense. If you guys saw my last video, I went over the Atlanta Falcons defensive roster for 2022, and before that, my expectations for the season whole. So make sure you guys go check that out. There's a playlist. It's called Atlanta Falcons News for that playlist. And if you want to see any Jaguar content, Ian does that as Jaguar News. So definitely, he'll be going over the offense either tomorrow or within a few days. But today, I did want to talk about the Atlanta Falcons offense. So we drafted a wide receiver, Drake London, this year. There's been a lot of new faces, new quarterback potentially. I'm gonna be starting. Probably not. Marcus Mariota is probably gonna be starting. So I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. But would like to see Desmond Ridder play in preseason. So I'm gonna go over the roster real quick and just go over my thoughts about it, and then talk a little bit about the offense. So at quarterback, right now, Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder, and Felipe Franks. Not a quarterback anymore. Felipe Franks did just move to wide receiver / tight end. He is probably going to be a backup tight end or third string with Kyle Pitts. So definitely look forward to that. Definitely very interesting that he moved to tight end or / wide receiver. So it's going to be interesting to see him play at a different position than wide receiver. At the running back position, we still have Cordero Patterson. We got rid of Mike Davis. He honestly had some good plays last year, but at the end of the day, he wasn't doing much. He was averaging not very well. Every game you could see he was getting stuffed and behind the line. He was only getting a couple yards per carry. It wasn't too good. Anything too good, too great. But at backup, we have Damon Williams, Tyler Algier, who we just drafted in the draft. I think he can be potentially number 2 behind Cordero Patterson, or even number 1 if Cordero Patterson is used as a wide receiver more than halfback. And then we still on the roster before the 52-man roster gets cut down to 52-man roster. Still got cut Audrey Ollison, Jeremy McNichols, Caleb Huntley, and Avery Williams, who could potentially be on the roster for kick returns. So definitely very, very interesting. Avery Williams, he did some kick returns for us last year. He was decent. I think he had some really good runs as well. Definitely going to be interesting to see who gets the starting spot at kick returner and punt returner for us. But that's our running back room. At fullback, we still have Keith Smith. I think it's a solid fullback, whereas fullbacks aren't that used in today's NFL anymore, unfortunately. But we do have Keith Smith there, so a very solid one. I think he played well for us the last year or two that he was here. At tight end, we obviously have Kyle Pitts, Anthony Ferkser, Parker Hesse, John Fitzpatrick, Tucker Fisk, John Rain, Braden Lenius. All these guys are in the practice squad right now. Well, some of these guys are in the practice squad. Some of these guys are in the main roster. Kyle Pitts, Anthony Ferkser, Parker Hesse, John Fitzpatrick. Those guys, they're gonna get some time in practice. Kyle Pitts is by start season gonna be our number 1. It's gonna be interesting to see where Felipe Franks, what did they put him at the roster at wide receiver or tight end? It's gonna be interesting to see what roster spot they put him at. But Anthony Ferkser, I believe, should make the team. Parker Hesse even should make the team. So definitely look out for that. But you never know. Some other players could get the starting role with John Fitzpatrick. Who knows? So that's our tight end room. Kyle Pitts, I think it's gonna have an amazing season. I think it's gonna have over 1,400 yards receiving and a lot of touchdowns. I think it's gonna improve from last year and just be an all dominant tight end. I think Kyle Pitts is just an all around generational talent. Like they said last year, like a lot of people were saying, and he proved it this year. He's one of the best tight ends in the league already. Just like AJ Terrell, who I mentioned last week on defense, is one of the best corners already, even though he's in his 3rd year now. So definitely Kyle Pitts, I expect to have a huge season because Marcus Mariota is going to target him a lot. Desmond Ridder is going to target him a lot if he gets some starts. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to talk about Marcus Mariota a little bit after I go over this offensive line right here. So I'm not going to go over too many backup offensive lines because we don't need to know that. But I can. I'll name up most of them. At left tackle, we have Jake Matthews, who's going to get the starting role. but we also have backup Elijah Wilkinson. Left guard, we have Jalen Mayfield and Justin Schaffer over there as backup. Now, the left guard position is a very weak spot for us, and Jalen Mayfield could potentially probably lose his spot to Justin Schaffer or whoever they put at left guard, because Jalen Mayfield, he was his rookie year last year, but he struggled so much. It's gonna be interesting to see if he gets to start, if he's improved a little bit. Definitely, if you see him in the starting left guard role, that means they think he's improved and whatnot in practice. So definitely gonna be interesting to see. At center, we have Matt Hennessy and Drew Dahlman. Honestly, it's a toss-up between these two, Matt Hennessy and Drew Dahlman. I think Matt Hennessy will get the starting role, but a center, he was pretty solid last year, so I expect him to be there at center. Now we got our right guard and right tackle who we drafted in the first round, Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think but Chris Lindstrom was playing very, very well last year, but Caleb McGarry wasn't. So it's a toss-up on that right tackle spot. Jermaine Fuddy could replace Caleb McGarry in that right tackle spot if he isn't playing well, and if he doesn't do well in practice. Definitely look out for that. So that's our O-line and wide receivers. Drake London, obviously, he's going to be in starting role. I 100% expect it. I expect him to have a good season as well. Alameda Zacchaeus and Brian Edwards. Zacchaeus, we've known him. He's been on the roster for a few years now. Done some really good things. Example, I think it was 2 years ago. It was against the Panthers, 94-yard touchdown. 94 to 97-yard touchdown for Matt Ryan. So that's crazy. Brian Edwards, who we traded with Las Vegas Raiders. He's a big physical receiver, and he's made some good plays with Derek Carr, so I expect him to be in the starting role, at least third wide receiver 3. I expect Drake London to be wide receiver 1, maybe Brian Edwards wide receiver 2, and wide receiver 3 could be Zacchaeus, or it could be one of these guys like Demir Bird, Auden Tate, or Cordero Hodge. Definitely, it's going to be up to what they see in practice. But we do have a lot of wide receivers to work with as well. So we can decide on what wide receivers we want in the starting role. I think Drake London, Alameda Zacchaeus, Brian Edwards, Cordero Hodge, Auden Tate, and Demir Bird, I think they're all going to make the roster. Definitely going to be telling who doesn't make the roster. There could be some surprising moves based on how they do in practice, how they do in training camp. Definitely going to be very, very interesting to see. And that is the Atlanta Falcons offensive roster. I did want to talk about Marcus Mariota. So he's potentially or probably is going to get the starting role as our starting quarterback for this year. This could change based on how he plays. Definitely could be mid-season before we even switch him, or may just let him start the whole season. Arthur Smith may let him start the whole season, but Arthur Smith did come out and say that it's going to be a battle. Whoever is the best quarterback is going to be starting. But I expect Marcus Mariota to win this role, starting role, because he is a veteran and he knows a lot more than Desmond Ridder does. That's the only reason why I think Marcus Mariota is going to be starting for us. And I think a lot of people are underestimating Marcus Mariota. I see a lot of QB rankings with Mariota at like 28 or even dead last or bottom 4. But I really think Marcus Mariota is gonna surprise a lot of people, shock a lot of people. That it completely changed the QB ranking. It could be mid or 14th or 13th, something like that. I think Marcus Mariota is gonna shock some people. I think he's got good development. He's never really developed in Tennessee, but the first few seasons Arthur Smith was doing well. That's why they kept him for so long. But he just couldn't never develop, Marcus Mariota. But he's learned under Derek Carr on Las Vegas Raiders for a little bit now. And I think Derek Carr is a good enough quarterback to learn from. So I think Marcus Mariota has learned a lot in his time behind Derek Carr as backup there. So I think Marcus Mariota is going to play well. I think he's going to shock a lot of people and win us some games. And Desmond Ridder, I really want to see him get some snaps in preseason if it's possible. I don't know if Arthur Smith is going to start him in preseason a little bit, but it'll be very exciting to see. And in the worst case scenario, Marcus Mariota, if he plays bad, then we could see Desmond Ridder in the starting role instead of Marcus Mariota. Because Marcus Mariota plays really, really bad. If he throws so many interceptions, makes some bad decisions, Desmond Ridder is going to be put in right away, and I'm going to be interested to see him play. I feel like if Mariota is playing well, we can let Desmond Ridder sit the season and let him develop a little bit as backup behind Marcus Mariota. Let him sit this season, and next year I think he'll be ready to go. But also, if he does get a starting role, hope to see him do well as well. So definitely it's going to be a toss-up between these two. Whatever you guys think, Marcus Mariota, let me know your guys' thoughts if you're a Falcon fan. If you think Marcus Mariota is going to play well. If you think Desmond Ridder is going to be our starting quarterback at the start of the season. Right now it's looking like Marcus Mariota, but who knows, anything's possible. So I'm just excited to see Desmond Ridder. He was the fastest quarterback in the draft. That's going to be interesting to see. Drake London is going to be one to watch as well, our rookie wide receiver, alongside with Kyle Pitts, because now they have to worry about Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and Drake London is this big physical receiver, Julio Jones, kind of like, not saying he's Julio Jones, but this big physical receiver that's going to work very well with other receivers on our roster, like Bryan Edwards. He's a big physical receiver as well. So we're building kind of like a basketball team with 6 feet, over 6'3" wide receivers. So even if Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder, whichever one starts, even if they're inaccurate, they'll be able to catch the ball, because if they're a little high, even, they'll be able to catch the ball. But I'm excited to see Drake London play. I think he's going to be able to get some highlight plays this year. I think he's going to have a big catch, mossing somebody. I think he's going to be an all-around good receiver. I expect around 1,000 receiving yards for him this year. And that is the Atlanta Falcons roster, or my expectations for Atlanta Falcons offense. I think they're going to play well. I think Marcus Mariota is going to surprise a lot of people. Desmond Ridder, especially if he does get some sort of starting role, I think it's going to be really exciting to see him start and see how well he does. He did lead his Cincinnati team to the playoffs, so that's something of a feat anyways in that college football realm. That's just awesome to see. But thank you guys for watching. Hit the like, subscribe if you are new, if you're a Falcons fan. Definitely hit that noti bell, because I'll be posting a lot more Falcons videos and news throughout the season. Definitely, we do every single NFL team, and every single NFL team, we talk about them every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern on live stream on PIPodcasters. So go check that out live. And yeah, if you guys if you're part of a different team, if you're not a Falcon fan or a Jaguar fan, if you want us to do these type of videos on a different team, let us know in the comment section below. It might take a little bit just to upload, just because we are almost headed to the start of regular season, so there's going to be a lot of different stuff, a lot of different news. But if you guys want us to talk about a different team, let us know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. It's up.
Thank you for watching the PI Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and tune in next time so you don't miss the latest news in the NFL world. You can also follow us on TikTok at PI Podcast and on Twitter at PIPodcasters. Until next time.